Hello, it's me again, Janice from Welcome to Shabala. How y'all doing today? I was already on earlier this morning painting this charger plate that I put on one of my socials, and I asked for suggestions as to how to paint it. This is a charger plate from the dollar store, and it has the molds on it that are the IOD snowflake mold and the IOD boughs of holly mold, and the letters that say let it snow is hopper. So I put this on my social media and asked for suggestions as to how to paint it. And my friend Christy said to paint it with sea glass. I use DIY paint. So I painted the whole charger plate with DIY sea glass. This is the white, but the DIY sea glass paint. Now you wouldn't think that sea glass would be the best option for a winter themed plate, just because by virtue of its name, sea glass, you think it is a very beachy color. But for snowflakes in the wintertime, it's a great color. So this is a color that you can use with your holiday decorations this year. So it's sea glass, DIY clay-based paint, all organic, no VOCs. I do have it on my website, www.shabalot.com. Good morning. It's Saturday. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. It's good. If you're there today, please say hi. If you're catching this on the replay, please say hello. I'd love to say hi to you. So the next thing that we're going to do is my friend suggested once I put the sea glass on that I put some mermaid tail to get in the crevices. So what I thought is, now that we have DIY's newest product, which is their making powders, that this is going to be, I'm going to be using this for my crevice filling creative crafts. So where we used to use paint to get in the, paint something and then wipe it off. That's what we used to do to get in the crevices, or we have the dark and decrepit for like an antique finish. But now we have colors. So Christy suggested me to fill in the crevices with Mermaid's tail. Let me go get it. It's right here. All right, so this is Mermaid's tail, you guys. So this is sea glass. All right, it's dry now. I dried it with my little dryer thingy. And this is Mermaid's tail. So they're very close in color. If you look at it, I mean, it's much darker than the sea glass. But since I want to try the powders, well, that's not the one I want. Which one do I want? What is that? No, this one's elixir. That's not the one I want. Where did it go? It's this one? What's this one? Oh, no. Maybe it's this one. I'm sorry, you guys. Well, this one. This is called Plant Lady. So it looks similar, but it's more green because I've used this on my last project, and it's definitely more green. So I'm not going to use that one. And then I was looking at these guys. These are the glittery ones. So this one is called Silver Lining, and this one's called New Year's Eve. So silver and gold for Christmas, which is, maybe I did want to put a blue making powder first, and then I want to put one of the glitters on second. So These are both, all right, so these are two of the blues, okay? This one's Elixir. It's really dark, and this one's a little brighter. I think I'm going to use this one. I haven't used this one yet. I'm excited to see how it works. Have you been using the making? Have you guys used them yet? It's called PCH. Why is it called PCH? PCH. I don't know. But anyway, that doesn't matter. So I'm going to open it up. I'm going to open it up. And oh, I love it when that happens. I have a lot on the cover, so all I'm going to use is the pigment that's on the cover. Look at that, beautiful. I'm going to put this in a safe place because I've already spilled pigment powder all over the place. What I have is this little dollar store palette that I've already poured some water in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little brush. Now this brush I used with the making powders the other day. I didn't wash it. And hi, no, but I saw them at your site and was curious. Glad you were doing this live. Hi, I'm glad I'm doing it too. Facebook user. You have to, because I'm using StreamYard, I don't see your name, but if you could tell me your name, tell me who you are. I just used these last week. And I didn't wash it. And because of the powder, it just comes, I use my hand. It just comes right off. So I'm just going to use this. This is what all right, so I've got, all right, I'm going to move the camera down so you can see. Kathy! I'm so glad it's you. My cousin Kathy is where? South Carolina? North Carolina? She's a creative and she does some really cool things. And you have a Facebook page with your art that we can follow. Would love to see that. But yeah, so I got the making powders. I'm going to bring the camera down so you can see. Look at that, the vibrancy of that color, you guys. So I'm going to get rid of this paint before I spill it. All right, and give you, maybe you can see that. Okay, is that better? Here we go. Now, okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to dip my brush in the water. Now, guys, this is only my second project with these making powders and mixing powders, and I'm going to put some powder on my brush. I'm going to start with, I'll start with this one. I'm just going to, look at that. These pigment powders are extremely vibrant because of the clay. So let's just cover, look how quickly I'm moving now. Once you start moving and you really get into it, it's going to go much faster. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to cover everything in this pigment powder with water, and then I'm going to wipe it back and see what happens. But while these are wet, let's wipe it back before they get dry. And we'll see what happens. What our goal is for the color to stay, to get in the crevices of this sea glass, to kind of accent the sea glass color. So let's do that. Okay. Let me get my cloth. It's right here. Or I'm going to use paper towels, you guys, because you want to keep them clean. Oh, you do have a Facebook page? What's it called, Kathy? Because you want to make sure it's clean. So if I use a cloth, it might get dirty. So I'm going to wipe back. Whoops. I'm going to wipe back. You know what I did wrong? I think I'm realizing. I think I should have sealed this paint before I did this. because look what it's doing. Can you see? It's taking the paint and everything right off. So, okay. So this is what happens, you guys. This is why I do things live, especially when I first start, because I learn. And what I learned is, and I should have realized this, two things. Okay, I did not seal this paint before I put the pigment powders on. So two things happened. One is the pigment powder, where are you? Pigment powder just blended in with the sea glass. Oh, the up was for South Carolina. Oh, you're developing a Facebook page. Cool. Sea glass it just changed the color. So it mixed in with the sea glass and made a new color. So that is not what I wanted to do. And the other thing is it pulled off, not the powder didn't pull it off, but because I had so much water, the powder pulled off the um the paint. So what I want to try is this. I'm just going to try one more thing before I correct this problem. I'm going to try to put the making powder on, just going to sprinkle it on the way you do like the dark and decrepit. Just going to sprinkle that on and see what happens. So let me bring this down for you so you can see. It's okay to experiment, you guys. So I'm going to sprinkle it on like the dark and decrepit. I'm not going to add water, and I'm going to wipe it back. See what happens. Now that's just smushing it all over the place. Okay, so I'm going to add some water. I'm going to wipe it back. So yeah, so I'm not embarrassed that this isn't working because this is why I do things live when I first start using a product. And like I said, I did not go back and look at other videos of other artists, how they use it, because I like to kind of figure it out myself first and get kind of familiar with the product. And then I'll go and watch some videos, and then I'll feel like, oh, I'll feel more comfortable when I watch them because I'll kind of know what they're doing. It's for me, it's better to be a little familiar with the project. I mean, with the product. So now, actually, it's starting to dry. So see this one here? The pigment powder is starting to dry, right? So now it doesn't look as bad as I thought. So what I just experienced, guys, live in front of you was Freak Out Factor. I just experienced Freak Out Factor live because are you familiar with the wax Freak Out Factor? This is not a wax. Um, but the wax Freak Out Factor is when you put wax on the DIY paint, it gets really, really dark and it kind of scares you. That's the freak out factor. I just freaked out here because I thought that the color of the mixing powder, making powder or pigment powder was blending with the sea glass, with the undercoat and changing the color. And I did not want that. So I was gonna, but I want it now. Now that it's dry, can you see it? Ah. Now that it's dry, it's doing exactly what I wanted it to do. So I will continue. I will lower the camera and continue. If you're there, please say hi. Let me know who you are. I had a much better. Uh-oh, don't do that. I had a much better view before. Why is this? Okay. So this may have dried. Now, I want to be careful with these molds because they've been sitting for a couple of days, but they're still they're because then look, I press them in to form them into the charger plate, but some of them are still sticking up, and when they stick up like that, all right. So I guess the key is I gotta wait for it to dry. It's like a highlighter for the crevices and textures. Yes, love the dimension. These molds, if that's Kathy, is it that still you? These molds by IOD are so nice. Look at the thickness. They almost look like cookies on a tray. So what I'm doing is I'm dipping my brush in the water and I am dipping it in the paint. Yes, I'm sloppy. I'm dipping it right in the paint. You don't have to do that. And I'm gonna look at that. I'm gonna paint it on. See, I'm practicing and I'm excited now because I like the way this came out. I know that it didn't get ruined. So now I'm gonna just pause a little bit, be mindful of what I'm doing, and see how good I can make this come out. That color, this is C-Pack or C CPH, I don't know. Now I'm just gonna wipe this off. Now it dries really quick, so I'm adding some water and I'm just gonna blot it. These colors, they're very, very similar to each other, so it's kind of hard to tell. So I gotta wait, I gotta be patient, I gotta believe that this is gonna work. I don't want to overwork it. All right, so I didn't even wipe any of these back because I started talking. So let's wet them again. Try to wipe them back. I guess the key is not to get my cloth inside the crevices because I don't want to lift it off the crevices. And I don't mind a little white coming through. What am I doing? So water, powder. Look at that, you guys. I know it seems strange, or maybe not, that I'm using the blues for my snowflake plate, but I'm also going to be adding some of the silver making powder after this. Hi, Deb. How are you? How are you? Nice to see you. Yeah, so some of the molds are coming off, but that's okay. So I'm gonna let that dry and see what happens. I like the way I like the way that one came out. So we'll see. I'm just gonna keep going. Let's work on the letters. So the letters, I would imagine, will go in the different crevices of the letters. So let's do the letters now. I like to have a little bit of a haze around everything, so I'm just gonna let the paint go all around the letters. All right, now I'm gonna take my cloth. Just wipe it off. The letters are a little bit easier because they don't have as much um, depth as the snowflakes. I mean, they're deep, but I just have to wipe off the top. And I'm going to wipe off in the middle too. So far, guys, what's happening now? What's happening now? What do we say? What do we say? So far, guys, what is happening? It's ugly. So far, it's ugly. And that's what we say in this business. It gets ugly before it gets pretty. So right now we're in the ugly stage. So don't panic. I'm telling myself not to panic. Don't panic, Janice. Okay. Um, just keep going. Trust the process, trust the product. And I know that this is going to be, in the end, is going to be beautiful. I just don't know how yet. So I'm wiping off just on the top of those letters. Just on the top. Now they need to dry. I need another paper towel. So they're powders, guys. So even though it feels dry at the moment, it's still coming off. So see, I've got nothing, not ugly. Oh, thanks, Deb. So I'm just gonna put my finger and I'm just gonna wipe gently, kind of gently, because I want to, even though these molds have been sitting here for a couple of days, I still want to be careful. So like I said, they're powders, so I do have time. I do have more time than I thought to get the color off. I have to keep in mind what it is I'm doing here. Um, I'm wiping off the blue, the powder, off the high edges. So in the hopes that it'll settle down in the crevices. So I will have two-tone. I will have the sea glass, and I will have the making powder settled into the crevices. And I know that I guess the reason why I say I have to keep it in my mind is because it just helps me be mindful of what it is I'm doing. Otherwise, I'll just start rubbing and scrubbing and I'll make a mess. So I have to really think about what it is I'm trying to accomplish here so that I don't make a mess. Okay, so far, whoa, look at all those colors. And then we're gonna take when this is all done, we're gonna take this is the gold, right? New Year's Eve is the gold, and the silver is called silver lining. So we're definitely going to be sprinkling some of these colors on here. So bear with me or catch this on the replay to see how that works. I have to get through this process first. So I'm still learning. I'm still not sure about how much water I should be using, but I'm going to just be gentle, taking off, see how much is coming off? A lot is coming off. So I just have to be gentle, getting it off the top and hoping that it'll stay in the crevices. Now, like I said earlier, my friend suggested that I put mermaid tail on top. This is sea glass, you guys, DIY sea glass. Put mermaid tail on the top of the sea glass, but I thought instead of the mermaid tail, I'm gonna try the making powder. And I want to get used to these making powders, figure out how to use them. Now, it is the same fact as every time I come up with something that I'm learning, I'm going to bring the camera up and mention it to you. So what I'm learning is it's the same as with the paint, that while it's wet, it's very dark. So I was really scared at first when I put it on. But then as it dried, it dries lighter, so it looks better. Look, there's one that is looking pretty good. That one's looking pretty good. That one's really dry. This one is much darker, but I'm not sure if that's because it's not completely dry yet. So I'm going to not have the freak out factor like I just went through. I freaked out when I first put it on. But then as it dried, I started feeling better. So I'm going to try not to overwork it. Give it a chance to dry. But it really brings out the detail in these molds, you guys. Really does. So let's keep going. Try to finish this up. And then I will start with let's do this big one. And then I will start with the silver and gold. So let's get this big one out of the way. It's like it's almost like a full coat, like the second or the third coat of paint, because it depends on how much water you mix with it. I don't know, I'm just doing a dab and a dab, so I'm not sure the ratio, but you'll learn your own ratio. The more water, the less, pigmentation you're going to get, but you're still going to get a ton because this is crazy. These colors are crazy. Look at that. All right, I'm going to take and I'm going to wipe it off. Now, thinking about what it is I'm doing, I'm wiping it off the higher peaks of the snowflake. See how I wiped it off right there? I'm wiping it off the high peaks of the snowflake. It's fun. I mean, like I was saying earlier, I like I like these projects that seem a little tedious because they really help me to focus. Um, this is coming out absolutely gorgeous, you guys. This snowflake right here is coming out beautiful. It's almost like polishing silver. You know, when you have like a silver plated something and it turns really black, and then you take a silver cleaner and you just gently work with it to get to bring the color back. That's kind of what I feel like I'm doing. I'm removing this pigment powder color, which I don't remember the name, to bring back the sea glass. Gorgeous. Oh, gotta still be gentle with these molds, you guys, even though it's been a couple of days. It might be because they're getting wet again. So you still want to be gentle. I'm losing teeny weeny little pieces, but that's not going to matter. By the time this is done, there's going to be so many layers of paint. These little tiny pieces that are falling off are not going to make a difference. I'm giving this a beautiful little buff, making me very happy. See how that's coming out, you guys? See it? And now it's as it dries, that's going to get less and less. I think the dark blue will get a little lighter. I think we'll see. Um, this is a gorgeous color. It's called, let me get one that I didn't rip the label off. It's called, this one is called PC, PCH. I'm not sure about that. It's 3 ounces. And as you can tell, you know, they go a long way. You want to just sprinkle some silver on here? I do. New Year's Eve is the gold, the silver lining. All right, guys, I'm going to sprinkle some silver on here, okay? 'Cause I don't know, no idea what's going to happen. So I am going to, what am I going to do? I'm going to get a new brush. I'm going to use a very little brush. I'm going to use this really little brush, guys. Really little brush. And I'm going to try to get it in the crevices. I'm not even, well, should I wet it? Where's my water? Here it is. All right. I'm going to put a little bit of water here on my silver. Okay. All right. We're going to try the silver now, you guys. I'm going to wet my brush. I'm going to dip it in my powder. I will find out if this is a no-no, dipping it right in the powder. And I'm just going to, oh boy. Oh boy, you guys. Oh boy. Dipping it in the powder is not good. It's lumping up. Don't do that. But I'm going to pour a little bit out on the plate. Now, can you see? Can you see the glitter? So that's the silver. I'm going to wet my brush, you guys. And I'm gonna pour a little in my plate. in my palette. See, I put a little bit of the silver in my palette. Um, this is where probably would have been good if I studied, if I looked at somebody do this. But I'm figuring it out myself. I'm not loving the water. Maybe I should have, maybe you're not supposed to put the water on these silver and gold ones. But it's not going to ruin it. I'm going to keep going. Can you see? It's really pretty. So I'm going to just put it on dry now. No more water. Let's just see if I shouldn't be putting water on. Maybe I'm just supposed to sprinkle it like the dark and decrepit. Maybe it's supposed to go in with a wax. That's probably what I'm supposed to be doing. All right, now I'm going to wipe it off. It's like everything else with DIY. Once I start getting comfortable with a product, I start putting so much more. I always think I'm going to start off with a little, and I always end up putting on so much. It really is adding a beautiful shine. Can you see? It's really pretty in real life. Now, I think though, like I said, I am trying to figure out these making powders by myself before I start looking at videos. I don't know if that's weird. Probably should have because, but what I'm learning, I think with the silver and the gold, they're not the same as the other colored pigments, because they're not reacting the same way to the water. So the pigments, when you put the water, it almost turns it into a watercolor, which is awesome. But the silver kind of lumped up. So that tells me that I think that I need to wait until I wax it or put patina on it. And then I will put that sprinkly all over it to make it, and I think it'll settle in. That's kind of how you use dark and decrepit. You don't put dark and decrepit in water, you just sprinkle it on and buff it off. So I think with the silver and the gold, you kind of handled that one like the dark and decrepit. Because I did it with the water, it's not ruined. Because even though it lumped, I still could spread it around. So, um, so I'm going to continue with the blue. Okay. If you're catching this on the replay, or if you are live, catching me live, please say hello. So with the blue, I'm wetting this. I'm putting it right in the pigment powder. It's not causing any damage to the powder. And just lying it on top. No, I'm not. I shouldn't say that. I am trying to get in the crevices. So I'm pressing down a little bit. Try to move a little bit faster, because then I'm going to wax this and then put on the silver and gold. Okay. All right. towel. I have this little cloth here. I'm going to see if the little cloth works better than the paper towel. Yeah, it's a little easier to work with. Well, this is the PCH color it's called. And I'm mixing it with water, and I'm putting it over sea glass DIY paint on these molds. And you know what they do? I'm thinking again. Do you do this when you try a product? Do you just like think and try to figure things out? I think that another thought that I'm having is it's a powder, right? So what I'm noticing is that when it dries, I don't think I have to be in such a rush to wipe it off, I guess is my point, because I think you can still wipe it back even when it's dry, because I think my snowflakes are going on. I think that it goes back a little bit to the powder state. So you can still wipe it off, even though it's been drying for a while. So I have been on for 45 minutes, 41 minutes working on this. And I will show this to you. I'm going to continue with the blue making powder. And then I'm going to put the silver and the gold on and see how that comes out. I am losing some of my molds, which they've been drying for they've on here for a couple of days, but I think I might be being a little bit too rough on them. It might be because I'm adding water to them. Um, so I would suggest, or I would recommend, if you're doing this, to give these molds some time to dry before doing this. I'm like, I did give them time, but a couple days, but I think maybe even being a little bit gentler, more gentle is probably smart if they haven't sat for too long. All right, so now I'm going to I like the cloth better. This is from Dollar Store. I think 3 of them were in a thingy for $1. And I do like them. They're very soft. I can't remember the name. I can't remember what they called them. But if I get another package of them, I will have to, I'll save them and I'll show you what the label looks like. But see how much is coming off? They're very soft for $1. And I got 3 of them. I love Dollar Store. Whoop, whoop. Who's a Dollar Store fanatic? I never was a Dollar Store fanatic till I got to Hope Artie's Village, and there's one around the corner. And my friend Chris told me to go there. And the first time I went there, I the cashed me out at $85. So I told Chris, I said, Chris, I just spent $85 at the Dollar Tree. And she said, Janice, that means you bought 85 things. And I was like, what? And in my defense, it was Christmas time. So I was buying tons of stuff from my store. So I definitely saved the receipt, but I was buying tons of things for decorations. But now I know I can buy things like cloth. I can buy paintbrushes there. So snacks. Sometimes one time I even said, I'm gonna go there for my lunch because because when if I go get a salad, sometimes it's a lot of money. And so I said, you know what? I'm gonna go to Dollar Tree, and I got this little thing. It was a can of tuna with some crackers, like Bumblebee, like a real name, and it's so good. And it was only $1. And I mean, why not, right? It's awesome. I'm there all the time. Now that the holidays, I wasn't there a lot this summer, but now that the holidays are coming back, um, I've been there lately more, and I will be back. So, to be honest, it's a little bluer than I wanted it to be. I'm not sure what that's all about. Oh, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a whitewash on top of this. So it's going to there's a lot of steps to this charger plate. Like I said, now this is a little drier, so it comes off actually a little bit easier, I think, when it's dry. All right, I'm almost done. I only have these three to go. I only have these to go. So that wasn't bad. Like I said, that was fun for me. It's a nice, relaxing job. Um, whoops, I enjoyed it, learning how to use them. The colors are extremely vibrant. These are DIY's new making powders, and I'm using it to fill in the crevices of the IOD molds on this $1 charger plate. I'm going to the store and I'm getting a ton of charger plates for my own purpose and also for workshops, for classes. They look really pretty when they're decorated. Okay, so I'm going to wipe this one back. Try to be gentle. And then I'm going to put a whitewash. And then I'm going to put the silver and gold. See, now this one, all right, so here it is, you guys. Now, this one is the one I did first. That's the one I did first. And it's much lighter than the others. And I don't know if that's because it's drier than the other ones. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cloth and I'm going to just try to get more blue off. And then we got to think about what we're going to do in the background. I'm not going to do anything in the background because I'm going to do the whitewash. These things keep falling off, but it's okay because once all the paint's on them, we're going to be fine. See, not a lot's coming off, but some is. But I'm not seeing what I want to see. Oh, okay. I'm overworking these, you guys. I'm going to stop. All right. All right. It's time for me. Okay, you guys, I need to stop doing that with the blue. I can't do it anymore. I covered them all up and not in love yet. I mean, this one, can you see that? Wait a minute, where is it? That one. That one I'm in love with. That one's perfect. But look at the one next to it. Why, why is that one looking so good? Do I need to go do them all over again so that they all look like that? It's bugging me. I'm going to try something, you guys. Now, see the one next to it, it's not as good. I'm just gonna put a really light coat. And then I just put a really fast light coat and I'm gonna wipe it back. Now that one has a little bit more blue in it. See, this one is absolutely perfect. This one. So I want them all to look like that. That's why these things that we do, guys, are a labor of love, isn't it? Like, come down here. I'm sorry. I mean, seriously, we put our heart and soul into these projects. Um, I'm just gonna put another coat on just because I'm still learning how to use these. I'm just gonna keep going till I get it to the way I want it to look. And then maybe the next time I use them, I'll be a little better at it. Yeah, I'm starting to be a little bit more deliberate, a little bit more of the powder, less water. And because the water may have been washing it away or making it blend too much. Yeah, so I'm kind of liking this a little bit drier. I'm just kind of painting along the top. With the dark and decrepit, you kind of cover the whole thing. So I'm just gonna make it back. Now I'm just experimenting, you guys. I know how I want this to look, and I'm just gonna keep going until I get it to look like that. So I'm being a little bit more deliberate this time. I'm putting it right in there, putting it in dry, guys. All right. Now it's time for the whitewash. We're going to do the whitewash now. I have to stop this because I think the whitewash, once I put that on, it's going to really make these things stand out. Okay, now I'm going to cover that back up before it fills. Okay, so I'm going to go get, I have my white swan. I have my white swan, and I've got my plate with the sea glass and the PCH making powder. Now I'm going to, oh, my white swan is completely dried up, and that's okay. I'm going to use this brush. I'm going to squirt a ton of water from my continuous mist spray bottle to get it activated again. And because I am just doing a wash, I'm not going to, wow, it's really dried up, you guys. Look at that. I'm going to spray, I'm not making a traditional wash. I'm supposed to, whoa, you guys. I'm just using a lot of water. Can you see what I'm doing? And then I'm going to just wipe it all off. I could have used a white wax too, but let's see what happens with this. Okay. Now I'm going to get a clean paper towel. So I just put the white swan all over, make it a new color in the background. I'm kind of a messy painter, you guys. I don't know if you've noticed that, but it all turns out good in the end. So I'm just taking this white and putting it all over the plate. All right, now I'm gonna wipe it off. A little bit more. These molds have gone through heck. It's gone through a lot. Okay, now we're gonna wipe it all back. All right. I'm gonna get my paper towel and let's wipe it back. See if you can see. I think it would be better, this cloth. I don't like the paper towels, guys, just so you know. You've got lots and lots of dimension on these snowflakes now. Lots of color. Oh, I'm going to turn this down so you can see. Sea glass is coming. It's coming through nicely. There's so many layers on these guys now. And I'm going to be adding more. I'm going to be adding the silver. Look at the dimension. See all the different colors? We've got the sea glass. We've got um, the making powder, and now the white. They're looking so good, you guys. This is why I say just keep going. There's always going to be an ugly stage, but just keep going. It's very, it's going to need some more work, but I will post a picture of it when it's done. I need to work on it some more, but this is where we are at. And I will post a picture when it's done. I hope you enjoyed this live. It was very long. I don't even know how long I've been on, but an hour. I've been on an hour. And we did the making powders and the whitewash on these beautiful molds. And this is not done yet. I need to work on it, and I will show you when I'm all done. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Have a great day. Bye.